In an era of AAA games being extremely unpolished and overly expensive, co-op indie games have skyrocketed in popularity. But are these Friendslop games actually ruining gaming? First, what does the term Friendslop even mean? Here's how I break it down, so listen carefully cause I'm gonna be saying it a lot. First coined by user Woosa, aced it on Twitter, it has quickly grown to become a pretty common word used amongst the gaming scene to explain a specific type of gameplay where you and a group of friends team up to tackle an objective, like collecting items to reach a quota. The graphics and features tend to be on the simpler and usually jankier side, hence friend and slop. But I think the term hints to a more specific type of gameplay. See, most of these IPs follow a similar formula. They're cheap, made to be played multiplayer, but include a single player option. They have a well-made proximity chat, consist of short repetitive gameplay loops, and most importantly, clippable. We'll come back to that point later though. See, while not every game has to have all of the above, you'll notice they more often than not tick most boxes. Personally though, I don't agree with the name. The term Friendslop, it's dumb. What is it with people nowadays throwing the word slop onto the end of something they just don't like? It creates a negative connotation for something that, for all intents and purposes, is an extremely good subgenre of gaming. But how did that subgenre come to be? Drop it, drop it, drop it! It's a blinking... Cut the blue!
You're red.
Ah! Ah!
Run,
No!
run,
No! What is that? What is that? What is that? Lethal Company, released on October 23rd, 2023 by developer Zeekers. Wait, it's been that? Holy god damn! But no, this game is objectively one of the most successful games of all time. Not only has it changed the landscape of gaming as we know it, but as of writing, has sold almost 17 million copies. Before Lethal, most popular games on YouTube at the time were stuff like FNAF, you know, mascot horror, Phasmophobia and its many, many clones, or party games like Among Us and Jackbox, which are party games, by the way, not Friendslop. Different subgenres. I get the confusion though. See, Lethal came onto the scene with a unique spin on all of that. I'll never forget the first time I booted up the game with my friends and just the fear of the unknown that hit and wouldn't leave.
Great.
What the fuck?
You dead? Ava? Ava? What was that? Ava, I'm out. I'm leaving. What was that? Ava.
No, wait. Ah! The quota formula brand new. Fighting back against monsters. You've never been able to do that before. Also, it clearly took some inspiration from liminal space IP with its design. As you can see, Lethal as a game is simple. It builds up this comfortable reliability between you and its gameplay. Getting scrapped with friends and vibing is all fun and good until it rips the rug out from under you on a random moon you just brought. You're going down a hallway. You see a monster. Crap, is that monster coming towards you? You run away. Separate from your friends. Once you can't hear the monster or your friends anymore, you think you're safe, so maybe you decide to go on your walkie-talkie. Hello? Guys, where y'all at? Someone? Anyone? You get no response. And I think a lot of the clones I'm about to talk about fail to capture that specific moment. Plus, proximity chat makes anything better. There's nothing funnier than hearing your friends dying in real time a hallway away from you. This thing here, that's a landmine. It go explode. What? But what stood out the most was an aspect I don't even think Zeekers themselves planned to include. Authentic, scary moments. Authentic, funny moments. With your friends. So funny, in fact, you might clip them. You might even share them online.
Give me it back! Give it back!
Oh, ball pit.
You've probably seen a Lethal TikTok before. I mean, during its peak, it was almost impossible to ignore. Peak. I'm so lame. But anytime I would end a session of this game, I would always talk about moments that stuck with me. Or things I thought were funny that happened, or terrifying that no one else got to experience, and I'm sure people can relate. I think this is the main thing to point out about the success of Lethal Company. All of these clips were authentic. Maybe that's just me, but very few felt forced. I know I look at clips from Friendslop stuff now and go, seems a little forced. But Lethal's, especially at the beginning, were as authentic as it can get. See, all of these games grow because because of their online presence, not in spite of it. Very few actually have any marketing teams behind them and rely solely on creators and fans alike sharing their experiences online. So to see pure moments of friendship, either through fear or funny moments, it makes the game seem extremely playable to wide audiences, especially on growing platforms like TikTok, where a 15-second clip can be viewed by millions of people. The short-form based content really helped games like this to evolve to be what they are. First time going in, how do we feel? Did I do it? Did I dance? Enter content warning. Released April 1st, 2024, and what I would say is the first clone of Lethal in terms of its obviously heavy inspiration. Please don't hate me calling it a clone. I can already see the comments from here. Ava, it's been in development before Lethal came out. I know, okay? I know. Content warning is a game where the goal is to clip farm in the game. That's the goal. You and your friends have decided to create a SpookTube channel, and it took the one accidental feature of Lethal and forced it upon its players. Bye-bye were authentic, funny, and scary moments with friends, because every moment now was forced to feel authentic while not actually being authentic. Do you know what I mean? It also didn't build off of Lethal's formula. If anything, I'd argue to say it toned it down, which I think is, well, I think it's the biggest issue for players. Why play content warning when you could just play Lethal Company instead? Also, content warning wasn't as moddable. See, Lethal never got boring, because once you got to the stage that you were getting bored, you could mod it and basically make it a whole brand new game. You couldn't really do that with content warning. Now, don't assume that I hate content warning. I've played it a bunch and I've had my fun with it. Plus, I gotta give it a shout out for being free at launch. It's just that it's the perfect example of early Lethal clones not understanding how to make an indie co-op experience in the same vein as Lethal. It just wasn't the same, nor was it different enough to stand out. And I think my hours played definitely proved that. Friendslop tends to be games that are popular for a week with creators trying to milk them dry before moving on to the next cow. You could definitely see the start of oversaturation occur post the release of content warning, with more quantity rather than quality. Very few were adding experimental features to prove that they were even worth your money. The Headliners and Murky Divers are two that stand out in my mind. They had solid prox chat and bright gameplay, although I've never personally touched Murky Divers because I am deathly afraid of the deep open ocean. But it looked cool from the 5-second clip that I could watch before scrolling away terrified. The thing is, none of these games are anything to write home about. Honestly, I'm not gonna go into too much depth about most of them because it would all just kind of sound pretty copy and paste in terms of what I experienced. Yeah, they ticked all the boxes that would make them Friendslop, but not for the right reasons. They were janky, not as a mechanic, but because they were rushed. They tried to be horror without actually being scary, and most importantly, you could tell most of these games weren't labors of love by developers who wanted to grow a niche gaming scene. Instead, they all seemed like creations made just to cash in on a quick buck. That was until Repo.
Unless you buy them.
Oh, what's this?
Now, not to say I was into something before it got cool, but I was following the development of Repo for a while. And while everyone is quick to call Repo a Lethal clone, I think it understood what to do right. Repo sounds the same in concept. It clearly took some basic notes, but actually playing this game, it's a completely different vibe, unique to itself. It understood not to take itself too seriously. It brought back authentic gaming with friends as the goal, with the game itself just being the medium in which that was happening. The janky physics to this game are part of its design, and you can clearly tell because while janky, it's polished. Which is okay, that's a bit of a weird sentence to say out loud now that I think about it. Most importantly though, you could tell the developers cared about what they were creating, and they continue to care, with multiple updates, communication with their fan base, and videos explaining future ideas and goals. I've played a lot of Friendslop as someone who plays video games to play with friends, and these games are my go-tos. Honestly, I was kind of getting sick of them though, but Repo reignited my interest. For the first time since Lethal, I was wanting to create content on a game because I wanted to share the funny moments I was having with my friends. Like this.
The big head killed me.
Wait, so it's still alive?
The big floaty head blew itself up, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and me too.
It did not. Peak is the newest Friendslop game to enter the market, and it sold 2 million copies in 9 days, which is beyond insane, by the way. Truly an incredible achievement. Congratulations, Landfall and Aggro Crab. Peak stands out because it's a polished game. While simple in design and premise, it takes what made the Friendslop genre so good and remixes it. Gone is the horror focus from most titles we see, and in its place is a strong emphasis on helping and sticking with your friends by making your way through 5 procedurally generated climbing routes. See, Peak is elevated because it's everything people call Friendslop. It's about communication. It's about teamwork. It is one of the best proximity chats I've ever played with. Includes goofy items and silly mechanics like dancing, but most importantly, it has Bing Bong. Peak also understands one of the fundamental rules of improv. Yes, and every game you play with friends is a big improv sandbox. Collectively, as a group, you build off of everything you're doing together. Whether it's avoiding bombs, pulling each other up, or hell, trying to sabotage your friends with a banana peel. It's a simple game, and I think that's why it appeals to so many players. The easy vibes and ability to just pick up and play no matter your gaming ability. Also, the team behind Peak understand the online aspects of how these games work, with the devs and social media teams themselves partaking in meme TikTok trends or becoming the in-game voice of Bing Bong to troll streamers.
Bing Bong, where did you come from?
From the airplane.
Let's talk the gaming industry. We're at a very monumental time where a lot of things are shifting and changing. Layoffs are becoming more commonplace, the cost of game development has skyrocketed, and companies keep trying to speed up development cycles to coincide with the fact that games are having shorter and shorter shelf lives. Don't even get me started on the AI of it all. These AAA games are costing us, the consumers, more. It's commonplace for games nowadays to cost $70 to $80. That's not including DLCs or in-game purchases, or hell, an online subscription to play said game with your friends. And I think everyone is sick of it. Through the rise of the internet, it's allowed indie developers to make a name for themselves. It's a lot easier nowadays to sell a game through clip farming. Players watch their favorite streamer or YouTuber or hell, a random person on a TikTok video they've just scrolled onto and see them having a fun, goofy time, and hell, that makes them want to partake. Fun and entertainment is a promise with most Friendslop games, even if that fun comes from how bad the game might actually be. It's a perfect formula. Most of these Friendslop games are being made by small indie dev teams, and the ones that work, the ones that stick around for the long term, they understand the mix between a great playing game and a foundation for hanging out with your buddies. Something big AAA gaming companies nowadays just don't and probably will never understand. So is Friendslop an oversaturated genre that's ruining the gaming industry? People should be allowed to have fun and enjoy something, even if it's deemed a waste of money, or you play it twice, or hell, you put it in your Steam library with the intent to game with your friends one day, and yet it's still sitting there to rot. And with the outside world becoming scarier than ever, people will and are turning to media like gaming for an escape. And while these games have short shelf lives, they're cheap. I'll guarantee you get a good value out of them. I played Headliners maybe 3 times, but those 3 times were fun. And for $7 Australian, I'd rather have that experience than spend $80 on a AAA game that's buggy, boring, I'll finish the main campaign and never touch again in my life. Also, art is subjective. When you may deem an oversaturated genre, people will say there's not enough material in. My only downside, if I had to be nitpicky, the fun for me at least comes from who I play these games with. I'm not sure I would ever play them solo or with people I don't have some form of connection with. But again, that's pretty subjective. I know many people who've played Peak solo and had a blast. Finally, I want to point out, we as consumers tend to be looking for the next Lethal Company, and I think that nostalgic quest to relive a gaming experience from our past is bringing down how genuinely fun some of these games can be. Even the bad ones are fun because you can laugh at them with your friends. I think we're calling Friendslop bad and oversaturated because we haven't had the same feelings and experiences we did when we first booted up Lethal Company. I think as people, we can be blinded by nostalgia sometimes, or hell, maybe you're what every comment says and just have no friends. God, the internet is just so mean sometimes. I saw someone say, Friendslop are love budget labors of love, and I've never agreed with anything more. They are making these games for the players. They live, they grow, and they die because of their players. And creators, even if it's inauthentic clip farming, are still experiencing these moments with their friends. They're sharing those moments online, and they're allowing for more and more people to find these indie gems. Oversaturated or not, we need more Friendslop. Hell, I'll end this video with a game I've had my eyes on for a while now, and I think anyone watching this video will enjoy it when it comes out. Big Walk, made by creators of Untitled Goose Game and are actually Australian developers. Shout out the Aussies. It looks extremely fun, and I'm sure it's not the only future game that will launch and make an impact in this genre or the gaming landscape as a whole. So let's stop calling these games Friendslop because they're anything but.